I'm Bill Holston. I'm a human rights lawyer. The very first thing that pops into my head is that in this time where fascists are trying to take over everything, the national government, the state government, you guys, in a very concise way, tell us what's going on and what we can do about it. And I like the fact that you cuss. That's like one of my favorite small things. Keep on keeping on, Progress, Texas.
It's Thursday, August 7th, 2025, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. The news is moving very quickly surrounding the Texas House Democrats' quorum break. In fact, starting here with something that was happening just as we posted yesterday's Daily Dispatch for Wednesday morning, in a situation we discussed later yesterday with Austin State Rep John Busey. That conversation is one click back on this podcast feed. Ryan Chandler at NBC News reports on the bomb threat that forced the evacuation of the Chicago area hotel where Rep Busey and dozens of other Texas lawmakers were sheltering among a total of about 400 guests. Police and hotel staff scoured the grounds. No device was found, nor has any word come on where this threat may have come from. But it's pretty clear that it's the result of aggressive rhetoric from Texas Republican officials, including Governor Greg Abbott, Senator John Cornyn, and Attorney General Ken Paxton, none of whom, as far as I can see, have said anything to condemn what amounts to a death threat to a bunch of their fellow elected officials, in some cases involving their families who are present, including small kids, and further dozens of innocent bystanders in that hotel. Perhaps threats like this are the desired effect. We won't know until these Republicans clarify their position on whether or not terroristic bomb threats are now an acceptable GOP and MAGA strategy. Absent a direct and specific condemnation, I'm just going to assume that they are. And if bomb threats are now fair game for the American conservative wing, I guess unvarnished racism is child's play at this point. Alejandro Serrano at the Texas Tribune notices, as many have, that along with this concerted legal attack against Democratic Texas House Minority Leader Gene Wu has come a wave of anti-Asian racist rhetoric, which for Wu is unfortunately not a new development. He's been openly accused of being a Chinese Communist Party spy, and lately gets comments from the likes of Republican State Senator Mays Middleton, quote, "Is Gene Wu back in China?" Couldn't be more blatantly racist. And Middleton, who's running to replace Ken Paxton as Attorney General, by the way, doubled down on that racist remark yesterday, saying on Twitter, quote, "Gene Wu has been fighting to put China first and Texas second. If he wants a refresher course on Marxism, I'm sure the CCP will take him back. I'll keep defending the big, beautiful map. No apologies," unquote. Democratic Rep Chris Turner of Grand Prairie says of Rep Wu, quote, "Gene has strength and grace that not a lot of us probably would have if we were tested in similar ways. That said, it's infuriating, it's unacceptable, and the people who are responsible for it ought to be ashamed. But again, in today's Republican Party, there is no shame," unquote. Another side effect lately for Minority Leader Wu has been a significant rise in his public profile. Pooja Salhotra at the New York Times did a full rundown of Rep Wu, including insight on his background as a child immigrant, his work in Houston defending young juveniles, the dense diversity of his district, which of course informs his approach to public service, and his stocking of snacks for aides at the Capitol working late, which says here he makes available to all of them without regard to party affiliation. At Progress Texas, we are big fans. See the link from the New York Times in the show notes. Back to the ongoing quorum break story. The Dallas Morning News reports that FBI Director Kash Patel has responded to Senator John Cornyn's request that Patel send federal agents after the quorum-breaking Democrats. The nature of that response from Patel, however, was not made public, though Cornyn seems pleased with whatever Patel said. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, meanwhile, is getting praise from the quorum breakers, not only for his response to yesterday's bomb threat, but also from his continuing public pledges to block any efforts to arrest Democratic lawmakers in his state. Ashley Fields at The Hill has Pritzker in an interview yesterday saying, quote, "Our state troopers protect everybody in Illinois and anybody who's here in Illinois. And so whether it's federal agents coming to Illinois or state rangers from Texas, there's no way that the Texas legislators can be arrested," unquote. Pritzker also appeared Tuesday night on the still-running program of Stephen Colbert, who quite understandably has zero fucks left to give. Pritzker told Colbert, quote, "Frankly, in the state of Illinois, we're not going to let them get taken away. We're going to protect those Texas House Democrats," unquote. Caroline Vakil at The Hill expands on that scenario. In particular, should Donald Trump start pressuring the Justice Department and the FBI to involve themselves, a variety of experts members of Akil talked to largely agree that the feds have no business in this situation. Richard Painter, who served as associate counsel for former President George W. Bush during his second term, says, quote, "I don't see why the FBI would be involved in this at all. I mean, this is Texas politics, and the FBI has no business trying to enforce Texas state law. The only federal law that I think is being violated in Texas and in Illinois and several other states is voting rights. I think gerrymandering violates voting rights, but the U.S. Supreme Court's not willing to do anything about it," unquote. And that's quite a statement coming from a former Republican White House staffer. Anthony Michael Kreese, an associate professor at Georgia State University College of Law, says, quote, "There's no offense against the United States. There is no reasonable basis that arresting Texas legislators will prevent the commission of a federal crime. This is simply John Cornyn asking for unconstitutional, lawless, and arbitrary federal power," unquote. Meanwhile, back in the Lone Star State, Ken Paxton is working hard to trump up what he can against the Democrats. Owen Dahlkamp at the Texas Tribune via the El Paso Times says Paxton has launched an investigation into whether Beto O'Rourke's political group Powered by People is breaking laws by funding travel expenses for the quorum breakers, accusing the organization of running a financial influence scheme that convinced Texas Democrats to leave the state. And actually, Ken, we're pretty sure it was the map. Beto notes the irony of these charges coming from Ken Paxton in particular. He says, quote, "The guy impeached for bribery is going after the folks trying to stop the theft of 5 congressional seats. Let's stop these thugs before they steal our country," unquote. Austin listeners and soccer fans, take note. Tickets are on sale now for our upcoming live podcast taping event with All-Star Austin goalkeeper Brad Stuver on September 15th. We'll be talking about Brad's progressive activism along with his wife Ashley, both of their ventures into political advocacy, including their own Brad and Ashley Stuver Foundation, and the courage it takes for public figures to stand up for what's right. All at Hop Squad Brewery in North Austin near the stadium, and co-hosted by Landon Condemn of the Austin FC podcast Moon Tower Soccer. Tickets are limited, so get them right now at progresstexas.org. Again, Monday, September 15th, live podcast recording with Austin FC goalkeeper Brad Stuver at Hop Squad Brewing near Q2 Stadium. Our mission at Progress Texas is to counter the billionaire and corporate-funded conservative disinformation machine at a moment when funding for public and independent media outlets and media figures who don't bow down to MAGA is under full attack. Progress Texas relies on listener support to keep going, but we've lately come within 3 months of running out of that funding. Thus, we're continuing with our summer vacation membership drive. If just 10% of our audience signed up for a monthly donation of at least $10, we'd be good for the next year. We'd like to avoid going on a permanent vacation. We could use your support now as a monthly contributor at progresstexas.org. Thanks so much to Margaret Hetherington, Macy Burns, and Greg Mayer, all of whom are on board. We appreciate all of you very, very much. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Thursday, August 7th, 2025. Links to all of these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is a nonprofit rapid response media organization promoting progressive messages and actions. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks for listening. Have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning.